Okay, we are going to do some math together today. We're going to do some farmer's market addition, which means adding. And we're also going to do some subtraction, which is taking away. So you're going to end up with less things than when you started. And we're also going to just kind of walk through our new I Know About Numbers book. So this was in your colored folder that we had out on the porch. So I think everyone's picked this up by now. So it's sort of like our other math book, but a little bit harder, a little bit trickier. But I know you guys are so good with your numbers that we will be able to figure it out together. So I want to start by talking about addition. Addition is math and it's adding. So here we have this sheet. This is in your packet from the food groups that is in the little plastic bag. So if you've picked this up yet, it looks like we have some apples that we're gonna add together, some strawberries, some oranges, some pears, some grapes. So I wanna talk about what a math sentence is or a math equation, okay? So we have got some objects and then we have this plus sign. And that plus sign means adding something together. So you're gonna add these apples to these apples and we're gonna get an answer. And these little lines means that's equals. Can you say equals? And that means, and the answer is, so 3 apples plus 4 apples equals, and then we'll find the answer. So when we do addition, I want us to count up. We do not need to recount the first group of numbers every single time because we already know what they are. So if we know that there are 3 apples, we don't have to recount the 3 apples. We're going to count up from there. We're going to do the next number up. So if there's 3 apples plus, we're going to add 4 more. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 3 to begin with, plus 4 more. So just count up. We don't have to count the 3 again. 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to pull my little number off. Actually, I might just do it on top of it. 7 is across the sky and down from heaven. That's the way you make a 7. All right, let's move on to the next one. 3 strawberries plus 2 strawberries equals, so here's 3. We don't have to recount it. Count up. 3, 4, 5. So let's write a 5. The answer is 5. Across the board, down you dive, around the pool, and that's a 5. Good job. I think this one's going to be easy. 1 orange plus 4 more oranges equals, so 1 plus 4 more, so we don't have to recount this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, look at that. We got the same answer with 2 different equations. Across the board, down you dive, around the pool, and that's a 5. Let's talk about this for 1 second. Let's use our fingers. If I have 3 plus 2 more, boop, boop, that equals 5. And if I have 1 plus 4 more, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, I get 5 again. So you can get 5 a couple of ways. 2 pairs plus 4 pairs equals, we already know this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Grab the spoon, stir the mix. That's the way you make a 6. All right, let's see if you guys knew this one by yourself. 1 bunch of grapes plus 3 bunches of grapes equals, so 1 plus 3 equals 4. Down and over and down some more. That's the way you make a 4. Good job. All right, so now that we know how to add, let's talk about subtraction. Subtracting is taking things away. So if we have 5 stalks of celery, and they want us to take away, that little minus sign means take away 2 of them, how many are we going to have left? So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, we can trust that. Take away or minus 2. How many are left, guys? 3. You're right. So we're going to make a 3 because the answer is 3. Around a tree, and that's the way you make a 3. Okie doke. The next equation, or the next math sentence says 5 minus 4. So 5, take away 4, and it equals what? 5 carrots, take away 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many are left? 1. Pull down once and then you're done. That's the way you make a 1. If you had 5 and you take 1 away, boop, 4. All right, this one says 4 minus 2 equals. We have 4 bunches of grapes. We're going to take away 2. The answer is, there's 2 left. You're right. Around and back on a railroad track. 2, 2, 2. Okay, these last 2 are little stumpers, what I like to call them. 4 minus 4 equals. Whoops. 4 pairs. Take away 4 pairs, and what's left? 4 pairs. Now take away 4 pairs. How many are going to be left? 4. Take 4 away, you got 0. 0 is a number. Don't leave him out. Hurts his feelings if we leave him out. That's not my best 0. Okay, speaking of 0, this last one, we got to like really stay focused. 2 apples minus 0 apples equals. So 2 take away 0 equals what? 2 take away nothing is going to leave you with what? I got 2, take away nothing. What's left? 2. We didn't take any away. I think that tried to trick us. Great job with your subtraction, guys. I love that. I lost my pen cap. That's okay. Since you guys are so great at your math, I would love for us to move on to I Know About Numbers book. Now, you probably already finished our first little book that we had 1 through 10. If you haven't, take your time, finish it up. I think we had 7, 8, 9, and 10 left. So if you finish that and you have the one that has all these little dots on it, feel free to bust that one out. We are not going to go through this day by day. I'm going to get you started so you can do it at your own pace. That means you can work on it when you feel like it and when you're ready to go to the next page. So there's a little letter to Mom and Dad here to help you kind of figure out what in the world's going on in these pictures. So I'm going to show you, break down what they're asking you to do. So if you notice, there's number 1, there's front and back page, and then number 2, and then so on, right? So we're going to talk about 10 frames. So the number 1, you would color in the very first top dot because that's how it would show that it's a number 1 in the 10 frame. A tally mark, you'd mark 1 tally. I'm going to show you that in a sec. Draw 1 shape. So you can pick a triangle, you can pick whatever you want. Draw 1. 1 is an even or odd number. We're going to talk about that. Tracing your ones, pull down 1, then you're done. We know how to do that one, right? And the word 1, O-N-E. O-N-E, and you can try to write one by yourself. Then if you turn to the back page, now we're talking about more ways you can make 1. Sometimes there can be 1 cent, 1 penny. So up here it wants you to draw 1 penny. You could do that. This right here, I have no idea. I've been doing this for like 10 years and I still don't know what that means. Y'all can make up whatever you want. But this is dominoes, and I will show you some dominoes and some options you can make to make different numbers. So for instance, this domino, have you guys ever seen dominoes before? They're like little game piece. So this one is showing just 1. One side's blank. So if you add that up together, it's just 1. 1 plus 1 right? And another way that you could show a domino, maybe the ones on this side and the other side's blank. There is a time. We have not talked about that, and that's not something that preschoolers necessarily have to know, but if you want to know, maybe mom and dad can teach you. It has the long hand already on the 12, and then you do a short hand and you'd make it go right toward that 1, boop, 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 and then you would write that it is 1 o'clock. That's something you can do if you want to do extra. And then this is talking about ordinal numbers. So they want you to color in the first apple. So you would color in the first apple. Now if we were on number 3 and it said third, you would count over to the third apple. 1, 2, 3, and you would color that one. Okay? So then you'd move on to the next number in your little packet. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, let's talk about 10 frames, okay? Since we've been out of the classroom for a minute. A 10 frame has 10 frames or 10 squares. The top has 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the bottom has 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you know that 5 plus 5 equals 10. And that's how we get the 10 frame. So if we want to represent 1, you always start up here on the left top corner and you make a dot. We don't even have to count those dots. We can just look at that and say, I know that's 1. Well, if we're trying to represent number 2, we're going to give a dot next door. If I want to do 3, 3. If we're representing 4, now I don't have to count those, and you don't have to count those, because we know there's 5 at the top. And if there's only one blank spot, we know it must be 4. Because we know that if there's 5 at the top and one of them's empty, it has to be 4. So we just know, boop, that's 4, don't even have to count it. And of course, if it's all filled up at the top, we definitely know it's 5, okay? So here, if we want to represent the number 6, we come back down over here. It's very important because remember, visually, we're just looking at it. It's kind of like our dice games. When we play with dice and we roll the die and then we see the dots, we don't have to count them. We just know what that looks like. We know how many dots it is just by recognizing the order. So if I want to do 6, I know that's 6. Do we need to count the dots? Nope, because we know the top is 5 and we know one more is 6. Same thing with 7, 8, 9. Now that's a lot of dots to look at, but we still don't have to count them because we know if it's totally full that it's 10. And we know that if it's 10 and 1 is missing, we know that's 9, right? So mom and dad, that's the 10 frame. Now, tally marks. We have not talked about tally marks, I don't think. So you would use a tally mark, and a tally mark looks like this. Boop. You would use a tally mark if you're trying to count something, keep track of something. So let's pretend that we are going outside on a bug hunt adventure, like a bug scavenger hunt. And every time we see a bug, we're gonna tally mark it, we're gonna mark it down. So here's the trick. Every time you get to 5, something special happens. So let's go, we're pretending. We're outside, we're walking around, and oh, we see a spider. So right here, number 1, whoop, a little line. Here, I'll make it bigger so you can see it. 1. Walking by that spider, and we see a firefly, which is weird because it's the daytime, but we saw a firefly, so that's our second bug we saw. So I'm gonna do another line, right? It looks like an 11, doesn't it? But right now we're just making marks. We're just kind of making check marks of how many things we're finding. So then we go down the walk a little more and we see a ladybug. Well, you gotta mark it. Now we've seen 3. 1, 2, 3 bugs. Well, we cross the street holding mom's hand. Next thing you know, we see a bumblebee. Whoop, now we've seen 4 bugs. Now I told you when we get to the 5th bug, something special is gonna happen. And right then, a grasshopper just jumps right past us. Okay, it's time. Instead of making a 5th line, because it's gonna be hard to start being able to just look at it and know that it's 4 or 5. Now that we got to our 5th one, you get to bundle these together so you whoop, swipe them all together. Did you see that? That's my 5. It's a bundle. So now when I look at this, I know it's 5. I don't even have to count because I know it's 5. Because once you see that bundle, that means it's a bundle of 5. Let's keep going on our bug hunt. Stink bug. Ew. We get to start another bundle. So 6 bugs we've seen right now. And you know how I know that? As I already told you that represents 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, whoosh, 5 bundled together. One more is going to be 6 because we know that 5 plus 1 more is 6. Then we keep going and we see a butterfly. Wow. So now we have 7 because we know this is 5. 6, 7. So let's go and pretend that we see 2 more bugs. So go ahead. 1 more bug, 2 more bugs. What do I need to do? If I find 1 more bug, I'm going to have to bundle my sticks together, right? I'm going to have to bundle those little tally marks together. And let's say we do. We see a hornet. Bundle that together for another set of 5 bugs. And that's 5, right? You don't have to write the 5. I'm just showing you. So when I look at my tally marks, I can come home from my scavenger hunt and say, I found 10 bugs. And I know that because I found 1, 2, 3, 4, bundle 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whoosh, 10, bundle another. So I can look at my 2 bundles and I know that 5 plus 5 equals 10. So I have 10 tally marks because I found 10 bugs. So if that's a little confusing, keep asking Mom and Dad about it, and maybe you can walk around the house and you can tally something like how many red things are in the house. Okay? So that's tally marks. Now we're going to talk about dominoes, because in our book there is, like, this is the number 8. Okay? I skipped over to the 8 page. If you look at this domino, it has 5 on this side, because we know what a dice looks like, right? So that's 5. And this side has 3. Well, if you add those together, I bet it's going to equal 8. Let's try. This is 5. We don't need to count that again. Count up. 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So that equals 8. Well, I've got some to show you in real life. Here is the dice. 5 plus 3 is 8. Well, on your paper, it wants you to show another way, another domino that would equal 8. Well, let me show you that again. This is one way. 5 plus 3 more, 6, 7, 8. Or how about this one? 4 plus 4. Do you know what 4 plus 4 equals? 4 on this side. We don't have to recount it. Count up. 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's another way to get to 8. So this is 2 ways. These are 2 different dominoes. They both equal 8. 4 plus 4 is 8, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Isn't that fun? So they want you to show another way of doing it, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. So we're back to this time that you can learn with Mom and Dad. And what 8 looks like on a dice. We only play with dice that go up to 6, so you wouldn't even have to do that on number 8. But I do want us to look here at the bottom when we talked about ordinal numbers and if they're in order. And this wants you to color the 8th little king head. These are little king heads. The 8th one. That means we have to count, find the 8th one in line and color that one. And you always start from this side, just like when you write your name or you read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I would color this little guy in because that represents the 8th item in the line. Okay, so we kind of went over the different things that you would need to do. Oh, odd and even. I knew there was something else that I needed to tell you about. So odds and evens, we hadn't talked about this yet either. So it's a little bit of a tricky concept, but I think we can learn it together. So when you think about something being odd or even, that means can you pull it apart evenly or not? So if we take the number 1, I've got one finger. I can't tear it apart. If I cut it down the middle, I can't make 2 of them. So that is an odd number. But if I have the number 2 and I cut it down the middle, I would have 1 on one side and 1 on the other. Now what about 3? If I have the number 3, how am I going to split that evenly? How am I going to get that to be even on both sides? Well, I can take 1 on this side and 1 on this side, but what am I going to do about this guy? Right? I can't cut him in half. So this one's odd. But let's look at 4. Can I divide 4 evenly where there's the same amount on each side? If I do this right in the middle, I've got 2 on this side and 2 on this side. So that's an even number. Okay, you can also do it like this. If I have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can split those apart and have evenly 2 on each side. So that's an even number. But what about 5? I can take 2 on this side and 2 on this side, but again, we have that middle one that we can't divide evenly, right? So that is the difference between even and odd numbers. And if you start looking at a number line, if you write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can start going through and say, wait a minute, it ends up being every other one. So 1 is odd, 3 is odd, 5 is odd. But if you go the in-between numbers, 2 is even, because I can split those apart evenly. 4 is even, because I can split that apart evenly, right? And 6 is even, because I have 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay? So this is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we take those apart, we have even numbers on both sides, right? We have 3 on this side and 3 on this side. So it's a little bit tricky, but I bet you can, why don't you get a bunch of pennies or buttons or something that you can lay out and then see if you can divide them evenly and have the same amount on each side. And then that's how you can figure out if it's odd or if it's even. Okay? So I think you're good to go. We did some great addition, we did some great subtraction, and we started to learn how to get through this new number book. Now, if you notice, Mom and Dad, at the second half of the book is even more tricky stuff. So this is actually a kindergarten packet. So they wouldn't necessarily need to know this, but we have some friends out there that would really grab onto this and love to do it. So knock yourself out, Mom and Dad, if you, or older brother and sister, if you want to help them with their number sentences here. This would be, you would have a 3, and then the 4, and then you put a 5 here. So it's where in sequence in the number line. This is draw 4, and then you're going to draw plus 1 more. This one you're going to draw less 1. So the answer would be 3 things that they're drawing. So this is just kind of the next level critical thinking. And the number line and Unifix cubes. So if your kiddo is ready to move on to that, then enjoy that back part of the packet. But preschool parents in general, that's not something they need to know before they get to kindergarten. But if they like it and they want to do it, have fun with it. So that's it for our math games today. And have fun with numbers. And you guys are so super smart. And I love how much you can count. All right.